102. Happy Wednesday, Nasties. It's game day. The Edmonton Oilers hit the road once again, and they go to the Wild. Take on the Minnesota Wild. Lots to get to roster-wise for this game that comes up at 6:30, Gager, but it says puck drop at 6:52, which is a little wild. Just say the game's at damn 7. That's all you have to do. But, yeah, we're going to break it down. We're going to have Hernan's World at 1:40, and at 2:20, Dylan Loucks from the Hockey News covering the Minnesota Wild will join us as they're dealing with a handful of injuries as well. Welcome to EST Afternoons. Like always, hit us up on the Nasty Chat if you'd like to watch us. It's the EST YouTube channel, and if you're there, hammer that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribe now, please. And hit us up on the River Cree inbox. 780-218-9999. The afternoon inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino. Canadian musician Alan Doyle and comedian Ben Bank is coming to River Cree in January. For details on tickets, visit www.rivercreeresort.com. And if you'd like to listen to us, iHeart, TuneIn radio apps, or go to the Edmonton Sports Talk website and just hit the Listen Live tab. Gage, we're coming to you live from the William Huff Studios. How you doing, my man?
Busy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fix some stuff there.
Hey, man,
okay.
This is your second job, so I understand that sometimes you're pretty busy in the other gig that you have.
Yeah,
which is, pays the bills, Gager.
It has to. But the bills seem to be getting more and more.
More.
Shouldn't the salary get more and more? Oh,
yeah, we got to talk to Dusty.
Whatever.
And I'm still trying to get you off two guys. Like, look at me, man. I'm taking money away from you. Yeah.
Taking food out of my dog's mouth. Crazy.
It's going to be a fun show. It always is when it's an Oilers game day. So Reed Wilkins and Jay Milne will take you from 3 to 5:30, and then Tom Gazzola, Sean Bell, and myself will take you from 5:30 to 6:30 for the puck drop at good old 6:52. Gager, I brought it up yesterday, and again, I was right. It's unfair how right I am all the time when it comes to the Edmonton. But Noah Philp, all kidding aside, gets the call up. He is going to play. These are the lines for tonight. RNH with McDavid and Hyman. Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Janmark with Henrique and Connor Brown. Then Perry and Kapanen will flank Mr. Noah Philp, which means Jeff Skinner scratch for the third straight game. Derek Ryan also sits out. The big one, Ekholm not on the ice. He's a game-time decision. So right now it's Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Bouchard, Josh Brown with Emerson, and our boy Calvin Pickard gets a start. But first of all, I want to get your thoughts on Noah Philp getting the call. Is this that call-up that we talked about yesterday that he's probably a mainstay now?
You
still don't know?
I don't think so. It depends on how he plays. You know, you make it hard. He wants to make it as hard as possible on the coaching staff. Say, gosh, we can't not have this guy in the lineup. And they're looking for something. I mean, the Oilers have been playing quite well. You know, I was thinking about this in the car. God, they are the best team since the American Thanksgiving in the NHL. And we dissect it to little parts of their game that they still need to refine. I mean, they've had just an unreal performance against the LA Kings. Things are looking really good for this team, but there's still holes that we think need to be filled. I look at the Jeff Skinner stuff, you know, and they're probably looking, well, they want someone in there that plays a little bit more, I think, physicality, a little bit more responsibility on the defensive side with maybe some sort of offensive upside. Maybe this could be the answer. Who knows?
I just find it interesting because you have two guys. You have two vets. Different styles. Derek Ryan is suited for the fourth line, Gager. He wins faceoffs. He's good defensively, PKs. If he plays 8 minutes a night, he's not too worried about it, okay? And then you have Jeff Skinner, who's just an offensive guy. He's here to score goals. He's been in the doghouse. He's not going to find his way into the top 6. It's his third game out in a row. I just think for Noah Philp to get this opportunity, if he plays well, I think it's his.
Yeah. That's what I mean by just make the decision as tough as possible. Yeah. Like make it so, gosh, we can't not have this guy in the lineup, you know? So I'm rooting for him. I think it would be great to see a young guy come in and if the other guys are basically break glass if needed in those scenarios. But I still think there's something with Skinner, man. I don't want to see. I think it would be a mistake to let him go.
Okay, and this is the next part I wanted to get to. I was going to say my spidey senses are tingling, Gager. I think there's a transaction coming very soon, and I'll say it in the next week with Jeff Skinner. Because you called up Noah Philp for a reason. And Derek Ryan is a guy that can be in and out of the lineup. I think something's going to give here with Jeff Skinner. I'm with you, though. I think this is a guy, what's the hardest thing to do in the league, Gager? Score goals, right? He can score goals. He's fifth in the team in goals, and he barely plays.
I know. I know.
I'm just a little concerned that come playoff time, some of these guys go dry. This guy's an option for you. So, and I'll be honest, I know it's a business and you have to treat it like that, and you can't let the heart get in there, Gager. But everybody's saying Derek Ryan to the minors. I just don't think they're going to do that for him because of the time he's put in, because of the veteran that he is. I just don't think they're going to do that with him.
Well, they'll have to look at what it means, though. If it, how much cap space can they accrue by the trade deadline, right?
Yeah.
And what it looks like is Evander Kane's not going to be back until at least playoffs now. So everything works out perfectly from like doctor's notes side of things. But yeah, that's tough to send how old is Derek Ryan? 36, 37?
Derek Ryan's up there. Do you agree? Because KD's saying he can't play anymore. I don't agree with that.
Oh, no, I still, look, this is, you got to go back and remember that playoff run. And you look at other teams' playoff runs and how many guys get injured. Like, look at the injuries that happened to the Oilers over the past few seasons once they got to the playoffs. Guys were banged up. You need to be able to have reserve guys. And I think Derek Ryan's still a guy that can play.
There's value.
Yeah. I'm not saying 20 minutes, but an important draw in the defensive zone, up a goal, 10 minutes left to go in the third. Maybe there was an icing. You're glad you have Derek Ryan on there because he's good on draws.
And I'll ask our nasties this, and everybody at the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. Let's say Henrique goes down, Gager, or Connor Brown.
Yeah.
Who fits that role better, Derek Ryan or Jeff Skinner? Derek Ryan, probably.
Derek Ryan, yeah.
He's 38 years old. He doesn't look out of place. He's older. He's never been the fastest guy out there, but I don't think when he's in the lineup he's overwhelmed and he's highly noticeable, struggling out there. I think there's still value there. He plays 8 to 12 minutes a night. He can kill penalties. He can win draws. There is value there. I do agree he shouldn't be an everyday player. That's fine. But, it's so easy to just get rid of guys. I don't think that's the case. I think the guy that's going to end up leaving, and he has full control, Gager, is Jeff Skinner, because he can't be happy.
No, but look, the guy's played a lot of time in the NHL. He's upset with not playing. I don't know if it's at the level where he's thinking, I got to go somewhere where I can play. That's not going into his mind. I still think, just from his body language on the ice, I still think he wants to be part of this team and compete for a Stanley Cup. I can guarantee that. So, yeah, I don't think he wants to go anywhere else, to tell you the truth. He wants the opportunity. If something arises where he is, even if he's in the press box for the first 2 rounds and has to come in the third round or something, I think he would take that opportunity, that unknown, over going to some other team right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate. I am excited for Noah Philp, though. I think there's something there with this kid. He's going to play with Kapanen and Perry, 2 vet guys, which is good. He's getting his opportunity. He's been playing super well with the Bakersfield Condors. So excited to see him and see if he ends up being a mainstay, because if he does, Gager, Oilers got to make a move. And on top of that, I will add that Darren Traeger tweeted out about maybe an hour or so ago that some feel the Oilers are now the primary target for John Klingberg. Again, this doesn't solve the decor problem in my eyes.
Or a conspiracy theorist here, are they unhappy with Bouchard then want someone else quarterbacking the power play?
Push him maybe for the power play?
I mean, I don't know if you remember Klingberg.
He was good.
Oh my gosh. It was unbelievable how good he was on that Dallas power play. It was scary.
and in saying that, he can defend, and that's what the Oilers need more of. And he hasn't played in a while. It's going to take him a long time to get up to speed. I think the only benefits is that, Gager, like he can provide probably a little bit more offense for you, sure. And also he's going to come in super cheap.
Oh, he better.
And he's not going to cost you a player or a prospect or a pick because you're just bringing him in, right? So I think those are the things the Oilers are looking at where it's like, let's give it a run because you still have over a month here before the trade deadline. And if Klingberg's not a guy that's working out for you, you can quickly move on.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think so.
But I'm just getting the sense from a lot of Oilers Nation, the fan base here, Klingberg, and it's surprising to me, but no one wants him. And usually because, we jump all over these players, the waiver guys, the guys that are coming off big-time injuries, a little bit older. I just don't think it's a fit for the Edmonton Oilers. Darren Dreger is usually never wrong when it comes to these things, so we'll wait and see. And, of course, John Klingberg looks at this team and says, yeah, I want to go to that.
Well, yeah, and it would be, the Oilers have to do it would be irresponsible for the Oilers to not do their due diligence and look at this and see if this is a match. But we've watched this team a lot.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, it would be, and maybe we're thinking too much of the impact that Ekholm had when he came to the Oilers, and that was so beneficial, and it came out of the blue. So, and I know I try to kind of glance and see who would be a good pick, but no one was talking about Ekholm, right? That he would become available. Maybe there's somewhere out there that there's been a relationship or there's been a trade cultivating since the start of the year. There has to have been, because that's coming out of camp. I mean, the number one question was that who is going to fit that role?
Yeah.
And although there's been steady progression, and I'm saying I would say Nurse, Emberson, Kulak's been dynamite. You know what Ekholm does. Bouchard, not quite there to where he was, but I do still think he can get his defensive side of the game to a higher level. But it's still that one. They don't need any more scoring. That's all settled. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
But you need that one more strong defender. Cody CC. That's it.
Nature Boy says Oilers being the primary target for Klingberg is not the same as saying Klingberg is the primary target for the Oilers. No, of course not. That's not what we're saying. But where there's what's that saying? Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something here to it, so don't.
With you, where there's smoke, there's darts.
Having a few DeMauriers. But again, I think something's going to give with Jeff Skinner. I truly do. That there's, for me, and I wouldn't agree with it, but I just don't see how it works here. He's already getting bumped for Derek Ryan. He's already getting bumped for Noah Philp. So for me, there's just really no place. He's not going to play in the top six. It seems like they're set with the guys they want in the top six. Your third line's pretty much set with Janmark, Enrique, and Connor Brown. So for me, this might be the end of Jeff Skinner. Easier said than done because he has full power. He can't be sent to the minors. He can't be traded or anything like that. So we'll see if the Oilers can find a way. The Edmonton Oilers and Minnesota Wild, it's the third game. They lost the first one on November 21st by a score of 5-3. They won the second one 7-1 on December 12th, Gager. That was a good one. But listen, no excuses because Minnesota has a ton of injuries. Like, let me give you their defense for tonight, Gager.
Mm-hmm.
First pairing, Jacob Middleton, John Merrill.
Who?
Second pairing, Declan Chisholm, Zach Bogosian. And their third pair, Travis Dermott, David Jiricek.
Oh, Dermott, hey?
Yeah. So
him.
Out for them, Jacob Lualko, who fought last time.
Yeah.
Jared Spurgeon, Kirill Kaprizov, Brock Faber, and Jonas Brodin.
Yeah. Is Jonas Brodin a game time decision or?
It says out.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, because we'll see. I guess.
Yeah. But
Bogosian scored a really nice goal the other night. Did you see that?
He's been around, eh?
Oh, yeah. Great stories, too. Gosh, he's a good interview. Just, he looks like a grizzled old, Viking barbarian guy.
Solid beard.
Yeah. I mean, Is that the type of player do you think that the Oilers need?
I mean, I'd take him over Klingberg.
Okay, but does he fit that bill?
I still don't think he can play top 4, but I think he's better than. So I'll put it this way: I think he's better than Stetcher and Josh Brown.
I think he can lean on guys and his experience.
He's been there.
Yeah,
he's won.
Yeah,
he knows what it takes. So
that would be super beneficial, I think, to have on the back end. Someone that's gone through it and won.
Yeah,
like they have forwards that have, they have Perry's won and stuff, but to have the defender that's gone through a top 4 defender that's gone through a few wars and won cups, those are diamonds.
If Ekholm's out, we're gonna get a good look of what this team would be without Mr. Mattias.
I've said it, man. It's the depth of the Oilers. It would be if you had who would be more. Who would you pick if you had to have the choice? Like Connor McDavid out or Mattias Ekholm out? Just with the depth of this team, it's Connor McDavid for me, because I think Ekholm's just such a huge part.
You can get by.
You can get by without Connor more so than Ekholm, I think, just with how what the roster is for the Edmonton Oilers.
He's probably outside of, and I'll say it, Stuart Skinner. You lose any of those guys, you might be in a bit of trouble. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because if Leon's out or Connor's out, I think those guys can carry the load. Especially if it's for a week or two. I don't see. I think they have enough depth, Gage, where they can get through. But defensively, the Oilers don't, and in net they don't. Because sure, Pickard's been great, but it's different when you're the starter and you're the man, and then you got to go to Olivier Rodrigue, who many think should be the starter on the Oilers. But all right, guys, we got 137 watching, which is awesome, but we only have 27 thumbs up. Let's keep hammering that. Let's get to 100. We've been pretty consistent at getting to 100 here on EST Afternoons. Coming up next, we'll continue the Oilers talk. I got a bone to pick with someone that joined the morning show and stirring the pot for I
think I know exactly what you're going to say. Yeah. I'll see if I...
Stirring the pot for no reason, Gager, because there's nothing there. And we're also going to get to former Edmonton Oil King, Pittsburgh Penguin, Tristan Jarry, being put on waivers today. And before you ask, no, the Oilers will not be claiming him. So we'll continue the hockey talk here on EST Afternoons. Keep hammering that thumbs up. It's Joaquin Gage, it's Hernan Salas, and here's Zach Kubish with your sports update.
Mattias Ekholm is a game time decision for the Oilers, while Noah Philp slots back in versus the Wild for the first of 3 straight games on the road. And you can catch Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas as they preview the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 5:30, only on EST. Elsewhere, the Penguins have placed 2-time Stanley Cup champion Tristan Jarry on waivers, with Jarry under contract for the next 4 years, making just about $5.5 million per season. And just one other game on tap sees the Hurricanes meet the Sabres at 4. Meanwhile, 5 games dot the WHL slate, with the Oil Kings facing the Broncos, Red Deer against Regina before Lethbridge plays Tri-City. In the CFL, the Redblacks have extended American Dru Brown through 2026 after he played 17 games, soaring for 4,000 yards, having 18 touchdowns last season. And on the court, the Celtics and Raptors tip off, while the Magic face the Bucks, and the Nuggets take on the Rockets, seeing 11 games around the association. This sports update is brought to you by the Capital Care Foundation. Financial support deeply affects residents at Capital Care, and whether it's a one-time donation or a monthly contribution, every penny counts. Find out how you can donate at Capital Care Foundation.net. More Oilers talk on the other side of the break here on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
It's 1:23. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Joaquin, Gage, Hernan, Salas, Zach Kubish in the house. Keep hammering that thumbs up. Keep sending us messages on the good old nasty chat and at the River Cree inbox at 780-218-9999. Gager, so earlier this morning, the morning show had ESPN's Greg Wyshynski on, and yeah, it bothered me.
What'd you get mad at?
It bothered me that that Connor McDavid is.
Oh, that.
They're hearing that Connor McDavid, it's not a slam dunk he's going to sign. Like, there's nothing there. Come with the team, come with, more information than, the best player in the world might look. Like, doesn't every player that's up for a contract, there's always speculation that they might test the waters, Gager? I just don't see it. His boys, Leon Draisaitl, his boys, Darnell Nurse, they've all committed here long term. That to me is the definition of clickbait, man. Like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, Gager.
I disagree.
Do you?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. It would be irresponsible. I mean, look, do I think Connor McDavid's going to re-sign? Yeah, I do. But I also think he'll take a step back, just like Leon probably did too.
Sure.
And just look around. I think that's all Wyshynski was saying. And that didn't even bother me, him saying that, to tell me the truth. It was the other thing that he said that really bothered me.
What's that?
Shaking hands at the end of a playoff.
Oh, yeah,
oh my God, I was yelling in my house. My dog got scared. My daughter had to do some studying. She's like, "Dad, what's wrong with you?" And I was going, this jackass thinks one of the greatest traditions in all of sports is something stupid. I mean, it's part of the legacy of hockey.
Yes.
Of battling someone that hard and it just having the respect to acknowledge someone that they've won or you've lost and you say good luck. That's something that you don't see in any of these other silly sports with the I'm missing the right word here, but I was furious with Wyshynski saying that. I thought that was completely off. That's a guy that's never played professional sports at any level or sports and just had I just didn't get it. I was so mad at that because that's part of the game that and maybe you just haven't done it. You haven't gone up against your peers in a physical battle like that. And actually at the end of it, although you might have said some things that are borderline, awful to one another, other sports, like look at when even, what is it? The Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons way back when they just left.
Yeah.
That was a sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
Jordan talks about Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever, says, even in defeat, I acknowledge that we went through a hard series, but I acknowledge they were the winners. And that's part of it. That's what makes you such a great player. And I think it's one of the reasons why there's a good possibility that the Edmonton Oilers will get back to a Stanley Cup final, because they've gone through even that part of it, getting that close and having to acknowledge that someone has defeated you. It's one of the greatest things in all of sports.
And I agree with you, because in the part I don't agree with you is that, no one does a handshake line, but in football, the guys go and dap it up, and then they do the prayer circle, and in soccer they all shake hands. They even exchange jerseys, for their collection, right, Gager?
Yeah.
In basketball, they all shake hands after a game.
Well, sometimes they do. Even in football, you don't get the whole thing, though. You know what? You don't get the line and everyone just acknowledging everyone else. But through the coaching staff, it just.
And listen, and it's different, because in football and soccer, if you're pissed off, you can just walk off, and your teammates can stay and do that. In hockey, they all have to do it. And I never look at it as a player doesn't want to do it. They're pissed off, obviously. They just lost. Yeah. But I think it's a sign of respect, the battle you went through. No, dude, does every guy in the handshake line like each other? No, but it's a sign of respect. And I agree with you. I couldn't believe that take where you're forced to.
Horrible take.
And you can't compare it to Connor not coming out to the Conn Smythe. This team just lost Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. That's completely different.
He acknowledged to Matthew Tkachuk that they won. You know, that's the sign of a true leader and just a humble person. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm rattled. I was rattled this morning with him saying that, when you can look to so many instances in other sports, and it's poor sportsmanship to not do that in my eyes, right? Like, yeah,
it's one of the best parts of I for one, as since I was a kid, like, that's one of my favorite parts. Is seeing a guy like Tkachuk and McDavid. Or I remember Deneau last year, and he stopped McDavid, and he just told him, like, you're great, man. Like, you're unreal. Like, I love seeing that.
And when they're in their face and telling them things that they probably don't want to hear about certain family members and all that stuff. And in the end of it, they're able to put it aside. But, like, look at those old handshakes from original 6 teams. Like, half those guys are bleeding, you know? And they still shake hands after it. Yeah.
So and I love, like, they'll say it's a Russian guys and like, you know, they're like boys, because they all stick to like the Swedes, the Finns. Like, there's always an extra long hug, and like they probably speak their language to each other, and that's beautiful. Yeah.
It's terrible. Terrible.
But just getting back to the McDavid, every single player in the NHL, every single one of them is gonna see what the options are, keep their options open. But to say that, well, I'm hearing, like, come on, I that to me was just, that's not, unless you have substantial evidence of it and you can report on it, Gager, and yeah, of course Boston has the cap space, and who wouldn't want Connor McDavid?
Oh, I mean, if it, like, whatever, if it says McDavid's testing the waters, like, whatever. That's a tough decision to make, but I think you still keep him. I don't think you trade him, and you just try to do something and I'm just putting this out here.
Yeah,
but
there's nothing there. And I hate when that stuff's brought up. Like, well, you know, like I thought it was just clickbait. And then I was listening to the handshake stuff, and that made me angry too. And I'm glad you brought it up, because I totally forgot about it.
Oh, I thought that's what you were bringing up. No, so that's why in the commercial I was like, oh, okay, let's see if it's the same thing. I couldn't believe it. Like, every announcer, man, goes, I wish we could see something. So are you telling me, Greg, I know you're listening, that in the Olympics, the gold, like, or whatever, the 4 nations, that they should just not shake hands afterwards? Look at all these, like, Olympic sports. There shouldn't be any acknowledgement after the match or anything. Wrestling, you just, whatever. It's dumb.
It's a sign of respect.
This guy's just looking for clicks.
Yeah, and the McDavid stuff, like, honestly, for me, if it's not coming from LeBron, Drager, Elliot Friedman, the top-notch insiders, like, there's nothing there. So Oiler fans, don't worry. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's going to sign for 8 years and be here with his boys Darnell Nurse and Leon Draisaitl. I mean, never say never, but I think it's highly unlikely, and there's nothing there. So
Matthew, do you see Matthew Tkachuk in the nasty chat saying, and I guess this is in the line what Connor said to me? Sure did. He said, "You're the best. I'm the worst. You're so handsome. I'm dog ugly."
That's great. Bone says, totally agree. The handshake is such a great tradition. It's tradition. I love it.
Even down to the fans acknowledging at the end of a hard series, right? They're standing there giving acknowledgement to what they've witnessed. You know, it's
like I played soccer, Gager, and I played in some big tournaments, like just local, like beer league soccer. And I have lost a few finals and won a few, but like after the game, you're shaking hands with the other guys and like, holy man, and you know some of the guys and you talk about the game and congrats. And like even at a level like that, it's a sign of respect and people do it. It's crazy. Jake from Ontario says, I agree with the handshakes. Even growing up playing minor hockey after a tough series where guys were trying to kill you, the handshake at the end showed respect to others. Even in beer league now, we still shake hands as a show of respect and a nod to a fun game. Yeah. And let's see here. Rip City Steps says, agreed, Gage. If the 80s Oilers and Flames could shake hands, anyone should.
I know.
That's a great point, man.
Yeah.
If the Detroit Red Wings and the Colorado Avalanche in the 90s could shake hands.
Well, except Draper and Lemieux didn't shake, but whatever. There's certain instances. The one I remember a few years, was it Shane Doan and Kings forward
Dustin Brown.
There was a little bit of animosity there at the handshake. I think Milan Lucic and was getting into the face of someone too, tell him I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
But nothing happens, and it's like you said, Nanso, it's one of the most beautiful things in all of sport when that happens to me.
The Dr. Carpy says a handshake is corny, much like forced singing of the anthems. Come on and stop. Smitty the Welder says we won't go there. That's Dusty's show, so we'll leave it alone. But we are going to talk about what was discussed on the show.
Yeah,
because it pissed us off. Got me angry on a Wednesday. I didn't want to be angry, Gager.
Less is more, I guess. Yeah, okay. Got me with that one. I believe that Billy Smith did not shake hands. No, he didn't. He didn't shake anyone's hand, but he was a little kooky.
Yeah. And then you see it, like I remember for the Elks, I'm not going to mention names, there's a few guys that after tough losses, they would run straight off.
Yeah.
But then things that people don't see, they shower, they come out, and then they see the guys from the other team, and there it's like a bro handshake.
Yeah,
like,
regular season, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to, but after like playoffs, series, I think it's I think it's mandatory.
I love the soccer tradition where you exchange jerseys because it's like, and then let's say a guy like Messi, man, like he probably has thousands of other players' jerseys.
Yeah, but I'm only going towards Messi if I'm trying to get a jersey.
I know.
I'm tackling him and ripping it off.
But say it's just like like a mediocre player, not Messi superstar level, but you're getting a jersey from a guy and you're like, and then when you're retired, you have them all on your wall. Like I played against this guy. That's a pretty cool tradition. So I think hockey and soccer got it right. Football, basketball, they do the bro handshakes and all that. But like you said, it's not every guy.
Yeah,
it's up to whoever wants.
Should tennis not shake hands after a match?
Good point.
Right. I'm just watching Aliassime get roasted here, but should they just go off because they're upset? Come on.
Bradley says Avery and Brodeur didn't shake hands. Yeah, that's another one.
There's certain instances, and that's great. I think if something like that happens, you always go, it's like George Russell and Max Verstappen. You want to see what happens next year.
Yeah, Fish Tank says Detroit Pistons bad boys era when they lost to Jordan and the Bulls. That was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
That looked bad.
It was a horrible look.
Yeah.
A horrible
sore
look.
Losers.
Yeah.
Yeah, sore. Because if you're the bad boys, shake hands, man.
Well, they shook hands when they won, but they didn't when they lost. You
think an NHL team would ever not do that?
It depends how the series would have to be just awful. Like the coaches would have to be at each other's throats. They'd be, personal attacks on how they looked and how they dressed. But maybe some of those early events, but I just don't see it in hockey now. That will never happen again. You might have certain individuals leave the ice or whatever. But for the most part, you're going to have, the acknowledgement at the end.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. NHL lives at the Canadian Brewhouse every Oilers game day. Get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. You can win game tickets and 2 tickets to a surf and turf dinner at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Moral of this segment, 97 is not going anywhere, so don't worry. And what do you think of the handshake line? We're all on board, and I think most of our listeners are as well. Like, it's a beautiful tradition. I absolutely love watching the handshake line, and it doesn't have to be the Oilers. I'll watch any series just for the handshake line. I love seeing, the respect shown from all the players and the coaches. It's just a great.
Well, when you see like Paul Maurice go through the handshake line and acknowledge the play of players on the Oilers last year. Like, you could see him. Like, he was just talking to them, had something to say about it. Like, just, I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away by that conversation, but it got us going and gave us a nice little segment here. Coming up next, it is Hernan's World. We will get to Tristan Jarry as well. Sorry, I didn't expect to be talking about that topic, but it was great. Keep the messages coming on the Nasty Chat. Text us at 780-218-9999. More here on EST afternoons after the break. But first up, here's Zach Kubish with a sports update.
Just 2 games in the NHL, seeing Edmonton on the road in Mini with Noah Philp returning to the lineup fresh off his call-up from the AHL, while Mattias Ekholm is a game-time decision for the Oil. You can catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas to preview the action starting at 5:30 right here on EST. Elsewhere, Carolina visits Buffalo, and in New Jersey, Jonathan Kovacevic has been fined just under $2,000 for cross-checking Florida's Matthew Tkachuk. Meanwhile, 5 games dot the WHL slate with the Oil Kings facing the Broncos Red Deer against Regina before Lethbridge plays Tri-City. In the CFL, the Redblacks have extended American Dru Brown through the 2026 season after he played 17 games, throwing for 4,000 yards, having 18 touchdowns this past season. On the court, it's the Celtics and Raptors tipping off while the Magic face the Bucks and the Nuggets take on the Rockets, seeing 11 games around the association. This sports update is brought to you by Gimme Virtual Golf. Whether you're looking for a casual round or a serious game, Gimme Virtual Golf has membership and flex passes to fit your style. Plus, premium members get complimentary winter bag storage. And don't forget, Gimme Virtual Golf is giving away 2 free hours of golf every other week. Gimme Virtual Golf, where innovation meets the game. Find out more at GimmeVirtualGolf.ca. After the break, we resume EST Afternoons with Hernan's World. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for 2 at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
1:42. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We're coming to you live from the William Huff studio here in the west side of the city. It's Oilers game day, 6:30 as they take on the Minnesota Wild. So far this season, in 2 games, both teams have won on the road. So we'll see who can get the upper hand here tonight. Should be a good one. Lots of injuries for the Wild, and for the good old Oilers, Noah Philp will draw in, which means Derek Ryan and Jeff Skinner sit out once again. And Mattias Ekholm is the big story of the day. He'll be a game-time decision as he was not on the ice for the morning skate. On the Nasty Chat, Jasmine says, attack how they dress with eye emoji. I don't know what that means. Are we?
Because I said you'll say anything to an opponent to get them off their game.
Oh, okay,
even
okay.
to the.
I see.
You don't think people are telling Austin Matthews to maybe cut down on the turtleneck?
Oh, the turtlenecks and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Excellent point. As we're going to get to Hernan's World, like always brought to you by the Garrison Curling Club. If you and your team are looking for a fun and exciting way to build some chemistry, look no further than the Edmonton Garrison Memorial Curling Club located on CFB Edmonton. The Garrison Curling Club offers 6 sheets of ice, a full-service bar with kitchen, and includes all equipment needed for corporate bonspiel. And the Garrison Curling Club is run by Nasties. As an added bonus, they will offer 10% off ice rentals to all EST listeners. Email curling at egmgolf.com and mention EST to book your corporate bonspiel today.
Viva la raza! Latino Heat!
All right, Gager. So kind of the news of the day in the NHL is that the Penguins they put Tristan Jarry on waivers, and only in the second year of his 5 deal, which was worth $5.375 million. Before we get to Hernan's World's topics, your thoughts on what's going on with Tristan Jarry. I'm going to read these stats to you before you answer, Gager, because I just want to. So I saw this on Twitter today. So Tristan Jarry played 22 games this season. He allowed a goal on the first shot he faced 6 times, on the second shot 4 times, on the third shot 2 times, on the fourth shot 4 times, on the fifth shot 3 times. He made it to shot 6 without allowing a goal 6 times in 22 games.
That's really tough.
Not even Mikko did that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Oilers fans are not too far removed from goaltenders doing that, right? And it just takes the air out of the building, the wind out of the sails of your team to know that they just play differently, right? You can see from the play of the Edmonton Oilers defense, a lot of times, perfect example was, I believe, there was one point where Anze Kopitar had a shot. Skinner was out far, stopped it, swallowed up the rebound. But you could see Darnell Nurse coming back. He gave it to him, And in times before, he would be, I can't let him shoot. He's going to score.
Yeah.
To have the confidence that your goaltender is going to make a save is crucial when you're playing defense. And that just changes the whole way that guys play.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're shooting. They'll probably score. We've only had 2 shots. So it's I always want goaltenders to do well. I was happy to see Jarry because I watched him here as an Oil King for a little bit, and to see him finally get a chance, kind of established himself as the Pittsburgh number 1 guy. Had a little bit of play, like he got into the playoffs, had some good results. Couldn't kind of get over that hump, but I mean, the Pittsburgh Penguins aren't. They're an okay team. But it just seems like he just couldn't get it together this year, and unfortunately for them now, they have a lot of money tied up into a goaltender, which again, a lot of Oilers fans will remember Jack Campbell along the same lines, right?
And it's crazy, Gager, because last year he had a .903 save percentage. The year before, .909. The year before that, .919. Then .909. And then .921. So it's not like he's been a bad goalie, but he's fallen off a little bit last year. This year, for sure, he's at .886. He's at 3.26 goals against. That's in 22 games. So in terms of Hernan's World, I'll ask you this before we get to it. Do you see a team picking him up? Or is that price tag too heavy?
Yeah, that's tough. It depends the situation of the team, but you can't have that much money wrapped up in goaltenders. That's it. It's just not a recipe for success.
There might be a chance with a trade, Gager, and the Penguins eat some of his salary.
Well, you don't know what it's. I mean, maybe this is the case where, because I believe in Toronto, wasn't it Samsonov got sent to the minors for just to clear his head a little bit?
Yeah, yeah.
Try to find your game. The same thing here was done with Jack Campbell too, right? And just go and work on yourself, right? And I don't even think Samsonov went to the minors. He just worked with the goalie coach for a week and a half, right? So maybe that it's more along the lines of that. Going, look, we know you're capable of doing something. Go take 2 weeks. Go get back to the player that you once were.
So for Hernan's role today, and I'm not saying Tristan Jarry won't recover from this because there's a good chance he will, but with Jarry on waivers, I want you and Coop to give me 1 or 2 players that were really good, great even, but then kind of didn't pan out. Their career kind of went sideways. There's a lot out there that we can discuss. I can throw out a few names while you guys think about it.
I mean, you talking current players or like
any player? It doesn't have to be current. It can be past. I mean, Rick DiPietro comes to mind.
Yeah.
But
he was never really good.
He was never really good. I guess
Nolan
that's
Patrick.
Ooh.
That's one that pops out for me right away.
Because he struggled with injuries, right? Like,
yeah, it was a big
why.
injury guy, yeah. Like, he had the skill and everything, and he was, picked second overall or whatever. I don't remember exactly what team he was on, but he bounced around. He was on the Flyers, and then the Golden Knights picked him up, and he retired very early. Like, he was mid-20s, late 20s, and yeah.
The San Jose Sharks had 2 players. One was Devin Setaguchi.
Oh, good one.
And there was one guy before that.
Chichu?
Chichu? Yeah,
Chichu.
it was Chichu.
Scored 50 goals.
They both did. Did they not?
No, Setaguchi never did.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he scored. So in back-to-back years, he scored 20 and then 22. And then with the Wild, he scored 19, and then he completely fell off.
Yeah, so those 2 were always surprised. Yeah, Chichu had 50 with Thornton and then fell off the face of the
Those are excellent choices, Gager. I'm a little jealous that you picked those. Yeah, so Chichu had 56, then 37, then 23, and then he went to 12-5, and he was out of the league. That's in 4 years, he was out of the league, Gager. Like,
crazy.
That's amazing to me.
How do you go from scoring that many goals to not scoring any? Just because he was great, man.
Because it's a little bit different than saying a guy that like a high pick that didn't pan out, because that's different. But
you want to have a guy that had a lot of success, right? Like was like, this guy is going to play in the NHL forever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see him in.
Yeah, T-Mac, the rugby guy, says Chichu as well. He's definitely the one up there. I'm just trying to. There's so many players that were like maybe 2-3 year hit wonders and completely fell off, like out of the league, Gager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 that came to mind first. I think I'm trying to think. It was in Philadelphia, I think, that a guy was. I can't think of the name though. But just was really good. Looked like, wow, this is.
Would it be Brian Boucher, the goalie?
Philly went through a few guys.
Yeah.
Leighton too. Like, they went through a bunch of, because I remember playing against those guys in the minors a lot, and they were real, like, they're unreal goaltenders.
Yeah.
One that's I guess you don't see him burn out, but like Noodles, Jamie McLennan was an outstanding goaltender, right? And he came in as a top guy, but on the island, and then basically kind of became a backup, I guess you'd say, right? So,
I was gonna say, Jack Campbell's one.
Yeah,
like started slow, a lot of years in the minors,
and he was out of sight with Toronto for. Yeah, you could. I think you could throw Jack Campbell in there too.
I like this pick. Known rapper, by the way. He's because he moved away from hockey. Joshua Hosang.
Oh,
very
Hosang.
recent, right? Because he played for the Islanders and then the
Is
Leafs.
he not playing
as well.
anymore?
No, he retired and he made a rap album actually. I think it's called Northside Ice or something like that.
He was just trouble though. Like he couldn't seem to get out of his own way.
Well, he didn't wake up, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he not show up in camp?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Would you consider Taylor Hall one in the last 3 years?
Look,
Stupid question.
I was never a fan of Taylor Hall.
Okay.
I hated why he drove me crazy watching him. He would he had all he's a Hart Trophy winner, so I'm not saying he's a bad player, but the way he would treat his teammates and things was disgusting on the ice. Like he would dart through the neutral zone, and if he didn't get the pass, big huge loop, the 1 foot stop at the bench because he didn't get the puck for a breakaway. Even to the celebrations after a goal, like he would, that scene in Seinfeld when Elaine's going to give Jerry a hug when he wins the race or whatever, and Jerry just bats her away and goes,
her out of the way.
I saw Taylor Hall do that to Leon Draisaitl one time. And Leon it was like his first year. They scored a goal. He's pumped. He gets in there, and Taylor Hall was just like, get out of the way. I'm hugging someone. I was just like, oh, what a prick. So, no, but he was good. He was good for a while there.
He was really good. Deaky Sparks is Andrew Raycroft. That's a good one. Rookie of the year.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You want someone that really fell off then.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest San Andreas fault kind of stuff was Jim Carrey.
We just got that texted in.
Oh,
boys,
really?
Jim Carrey was unreal and gone. Mark out of the park.
That was my first year pro. I remember playing against him, and he won. I think he's the only player to ever win Rookies of the Year in both the NHL and the American Hockey League because it was the first lockout.
Mike the Michigan van. Sorry, we'll get right to you. Pat Falloon, Alexander Daigle.
They were never good.
No, but Falloon had a really good first year, then he traveled all. He was even in Edmonton for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
He fell off as a top pick, but Daigle for me was always just he played a lot of years, but he was always the same.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right. So for sure,
another big player, and he played a lot of years in the league. Another goaltender, Minnesota Wilds. I gotta preface that Nicholas Backstrom.
Yeah, but he had MS, didn't he?
Ooh.
He got diagnosed with MS. That was why he had to quit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah. I didn't know that. No,
it's all right.
It's not your fault, Coop. Casino Dealer Jay says Magnus Pajärvi.
Yeah, he was never.
Rip City Steps at Jim Carrey. Big Uke says Corey Schneider.
Corey Schneider. Why can't I think of? I know that name.
Goalie, Vancouver, New Jersey.
No, I think he got dealt to New Jersey, right? And he had a pretty good career.
Yeah. It's because Magnus Pajärvi never took off here. I'd be comfortable saying that. There's like a Linus Olmark, for the others. Nail Yakupov was just a bust.
Yeah, poor Yak.
Al says Tommy Salo. Did he fall off? Where did he go after the Oilers? Colorado?
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that. That might be a good one. Man, that guy's one of my... outside of Gager, he's one of my favorite Oiler goalies.
Yeah, he was old Tommy.
Let's see here. Yeah, so in fairness, Gager, he went to Colorado and played 5 games, and then he was in Europe.
Yeah.
So he didn't really have a career in the NHL after Edmonton.
No. Well, after that goal in the playoff or the Olympics.
Rip City Step goes away from hockey, and I like this. Jeremy Lin.
Lin Sanity.
Yeah. That's a good one. Calvin says Gary Suitcase Smith. Bronco Nick says Tim Thomas. Joel says Raphael Lavoie. Bronco Nick also adds Jose Theodore. Jose, sorry. I called him.
I mean, he didn't he win a Hart Trophy too?
He won a Vezina, maybe. Let me look it up.
I think he did.
He was good, man.
He was okay.
Hart, you're right, man. The Hart in 2001, 2002, and obviously the Vezina that year as well.
I had a lot of success against that guy. That hurt seeing him have such a great year and win the Hart. I was like, I had to go to Europe to win my Hart.
I think Aiden wins this one. Alex Galchenyuk. No, he's had some issues, and
I don't think you put him. He was highly touted, but he was injured a lot at the start.
And then he went into
that very disturbing back of the cop car ride was.
Because Gager, in 3 years in Montreal, he had 46, then 56, then 44, then 51 points. So it's pretty decent, but he completely fell off after that.
Yeah, no.
Alex Yashin?
No, it's funny because I don't know if I told you this already, but I was golfing with Cliff Ronning in the summer.
Yeah.
And Cliff was retired. And he got a call from the Islanders saying, hey, we need someone to play with Yashin because he's completely disinterested.
Wow.
And Yashin's a beast of a man, right?
He is.
And so Cliff's like 5'6", 5'7". He'd be the one getting into the corners, digging pucks out. And he'd tell Yashin, because he wasn't going to do it, he goes, well, just go stand, because you can beat goalies from distance. So give yourself some space. So he'd stand almost at the blue line and just wait for Cliffy to feed him. Because he told me the stats. He had like 20 points at Christmas, and Cliff joined the team. He had like 46 points after that, just playing with Cliff Ronning.
Cliff Ronning was a stud on Vancouver.
Awesome.
Oh, number 7,
Great
flying
guy.
around.
He's awesome. Really good golfer, too.
Should try to get him on the show one day.
I asked him. I could give him a show.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cliff Ronning. Who remembers Cliff Ronning? Good old number 7.
Yeah.
Speeding.
He's great in 94 in the hockey game.
He's so fast. Him and Burry. Oh.
Yeah.
Was he a St. Louis Blues as well?
Ooh, I don't think so. Phoenix, St. Louis, Vancouver.
Let me take a look here. Yeah,
Islanders.
he started in St. Louis.
Oh,
he was
did he?
drafted by them.
Oh, okay.
Vancouver, Phoenix, Nashville, LA Kings, Minnesota Wild, New York Islanders.
Yeah.
And in his last year in the NHL with the Islanders, he only played 40 games. He had 24 points.
With Yashin. That's where Yashin got the more points.
That's amazing. All right, guys, that does it for hour 1. Lots of Oilers talk. We had some fun here on Hernan's World, like always presented to you by the Garrison Curling Club. Email them at egmgolf.com and mention EST to book your corporate bond spiel today. In hour 2, we'll be joined by Dylan Loucks. He covers the Wild for the Hockey News out in Minnesota. That's at 2:20. We'll continue the hockey talk. We might talk some CFL and NFL as well, but keep the thumbs up coming. We're at 65, which is pretty good for the first hour, so we're only 35 away. If you haven't hammered it, please hammer the thumbs up right now and keep chiming in on the Nasty Chat as it's going pretty strong right now. And keep sending us your players who started off well and then kind of tailed off. And this doesn't mean Tristan Jarry, we're giving up on him. It's the big topic of the day today. He is on waivers. We'll see if anyone picks him up. Hour 2 of EST Afternoons is coming up after the break.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Mattias Ekholm is a game-time decision while Noah Philp slots back in for the Oilers versus the Wild for the first of 3 straight games on the road. And you can catch Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas as they preview the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live at 5:30 right here on EST. Elsewhere, the Penguins have placed two-time Stanley Cup champion Tristan Jarry on waivers, with Jarry under contract for the next 4 years, making just about $5.5 million per season. And there's just one other game on tap, seeing the Hurricanes meet the Sabres at 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, 5 games dot the WHL slate, with the Oil Kings facing the Broncos Red Deer against Regina before Lethbridge plays Tri-City. In the CFL, the Redblacks have extended American Dru Brown through 2026 after he played 17 games, throwing for about 4,000 yards, having 18 touchdowns this past season. On the court, the Celtics and Raptors tip off while the Magic face the Bucks, and the Nuggets take on the Rockets, seeing 11 games around the association. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update. Hour 2 of EST Afternoon starts right now.
Welcome back to hour 2, man. I feel like I'd be smoking a dart. And
You always feel like you're smoking a dart.
wearing a nice suit with a top hat and
just a jazz bar.
Yeah.
Some smoky drink.
Yeah, a nice
Old fashioned.
What did James
Smoke
Bond
glass.
drink?
Vodka martini, shaken not stirred.
Shaken nuts. Good stuff. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Joaquin, Gage, Zach Kubish, Hernan, Salas here with you right up until 3 o'clock. Then Reed and Jay will take over up until 5:30. And it's the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola at 5:30 as the Edmonton Oilers take on the Minnesota Wild. Another road trip for the good old Oil. 6:30 puck drop. Well, actually, it's at 6:52. Okay. So if you're driving home and you think you're going to be late, you got until 6:52 to catch the opening of the game. The big story of the day is Mattias Ekholm is a game-time decision. We'll find out in warm-ups if he's good to go. If not, it's going to be tough for that back end of the Edmonton Oilers. But on the flip side, Minnesota dealing with a ton of injuries as well. They got 5 regulars out. And then Calvin Pickard gets a start. And what everybody wanted to see, Noah Philp is in the lineup. He'll center the fourth line with Corey Perry. And I was going to say, I always want to say Sammy Kapanen. It's Kasperi Kapanen. Kasperi. If you're listening, always hit us up on the iHeart TuneIn radio apps. If you'd like to watch us, it's the EST YouTube channel. Hit us up on the Nasty Chat and text us on the River Cree inbox at 780-218-9999. The afternoon inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. And Dusty's even in on the Nasty Chat.
I saw that.
Telling everybody to hammer that thumbs up.
Did you see that news out of the CFL in Ottawa?
About Dru Brown?
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback.
I think so too.
I'll be honest. I wasn't high on him when they did sign him because I was like,
really?
I thought he was a product of the system because he came from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Okay. But yeah, he proved me wrong. He's an excellent quarterback, and that's what I love about the CFL. And we talked with Jordan McSimic on Monday, Gagers, that the CFL has such a the crop of quarterbacks right now. I think it's probably the best it's ever been, man.
Yeah, it's a good. It's funny because now more involved in here and Dusty being the voice of the CFL basically. I find myself in the same type of mindset I did with Formula One with the CFL because if you were to ask me 5 players, I probably couldn't mention their names at the start of doing all this, right? But now, I watch more games, I see how guys are doing and stuff, and we're interviewing people, talking to people, so obviously I'm way more interested to see how they do. It's great. I'm very excited for next year. And it's not since going to watch my cousin play for the Lions, I haven't been this excited to go watch CFL games in decades.
I know it's tough because Dusty does games and Maddie and Jay do the pre and post, but we should have an EST night out at the game.
Well, let's just go with Gazzola. That's what he does every single time.
That's true.
Oh, sometimes he's on the sidelines, I guess.
Yeah, Lieutenant Eric goes a lot too.
Oh, yes, he does.
For me, there's nothing better in the summer than sitting at Commonwealth.
I came by and saw the Cube, and it was funny because Trev, I just walked in to the back, and Trev, he's a pretty timid little guy. And I don't think you recognized me, and you saw me, but then Trev didn't, and I think he freaked out and goes, "Who's this guy? He's stealing our stuff." And then he goes, "Oh, it's Gager." Oh, and I thought he was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people kind of sneaking around out there, and the nasties come and say hi, and we got to keep track of it because we got our new fancy little, what do they call it? The cornhole? Yeah. The cornhole bags, the EST branded cornhole bags, and it was a fun time at the tailgate. Dusty, even the big man, kind of swung by the parking lot a little bit, dressed in his nice suit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's stylish when he dresses like it. He's got his hair done and everything like that. But
different man.
People saying hi.
You should have seen because if I was in a concession, I'd say, "Hey, swing by. I'm in whatever concession 7, slinging dogs." So Dusty would come in, and my friend Brian, he listens to the show a lot. Brian Barton. I worked with him at Shaw, and so I'm thinking, well, Brian, he was always a little impressed that I played hockey for a long time or whatever and stuff, but never gave me that like starstruck kind of thing. He was always like, "Yeah, well, Gage or whatever." You should have seen. You would have thought Taylor Swift came into that concession when Dusty pulled up. Brian got all flushed. He could barely spit out his words. He was just like, "Dusty, you're the best, man. I love what." And I was like, Dusty's got a lot of power, man.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it was great.
Got a lot of pull. Yeah, when I left the Elks, my first week here, I went to a game, and it was great walking around. You know what's crazy? I worked there for 3 years, and I never went to a tailgate because you're so busy.
Oh, really? Yeah, you were always, when I'd come and I'd see you and
all sweaty.
And grab you and all sweaty and hug you.
Yeah, running up those stairs, just running around. It's great. The buzz and the anticipation of the game is great. But to be able to walk around there and see so many different people and fans, it was great, man. It's one of the best ones. I saw all of them in the different cities. Edmonton's right up there, man. There's some really good
on a
ones.
nice day. There's nothing like a communal gather like an Elks game.
Yeah, just grabbing a beer and a hot dog and enjoying some good CFL action. Seriously, for me, there's nothing better. I like sitting on the sunny side though.
Yeah,
work on the tan. It's nice and stuff like that. So, and we're still awaiting a CFL schedule, which is unreal. So hopefully by next week. Caster 1990 says, "Gager, how's your cousin Swerving Mervin? What's he up to these days?"
No idea. But, Swerving Merv. Well, and then he obviously goes to the Raiders back in the day.
Yeah.
He was great, man. I remember it was against the Eskimos at the time. I think the Grey Cup was in BC Place and the Eskimos won. I remember crying because I was a little kid, right? But my cousin didn't win.
Oh yeah. It's a little bit different. Let's see here. I had a good one here. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. No, this one says five things Oliver answers. I don't know what that means, but here he goes. 1, Oilers get out hit every night. Who's stopping this? 2, Zadorov runs Skinner with no reaction, right? No one stepped in for that. 3, Kempe, Slewfoots, McDavid, or Draisaitl get slashed by Pietrangelo and McDavid has to step up. 4, Nurse or Perry have to fight. Is this their roles? 5, Oilers play Toronto in the Stanley Cup Finals. So what stops Reeves from rolling over the Oilers? That last one, Reeves not playing in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Put Reeves out there, please.
Detroit of the 90s didn't have tough guys. They had the Darren McCartys, but they won games because they outskilled you. And if you wanted to get rough with them, they'd take the power play. I think that's kind of the way the Oilers are rolling as well. I mean, last year in the playoffs, you had Kane, but he wasn't even close to 80% Gager. And the Oilers were fine. I don't think you need the overall tough guy.
What team plays like the 70s Broad Street Bully Flyers? What team?
None. Yeah.
So what has been the most physical game that you thought this year that the Oilers have played where you're like, ooh, this could be a problem? What game?
I thought the LA game in LA But I don't think it's because I don't think the Oilers were all, like, I just think LA leaned on them a bit because they're bigger. They have bigger bodies. That's it. But I don't think they were hit out of the – and the Oilers don't hit a lot, and we get that, but they have the puck a lot.
They don't get run out of the building.
No.
And that's a weird stat. Like, so look at the goal last game. Okay, what happens? Leon Draisaitl gets on his horse, out-muscles Moore for the puck, completely obliterates the defenseman and breaks ankles, and still gets a guy on him and is able to make a backhand pass. That there's still a lot of physical play, even though in my eyes that should be counted as a hit when Leon gets the puck from a guy by using his physicality and his body and his speed, right? So there's an element to physical play now that's different from years prior. But, I mean, Connor does it. Zach Hyman does it. Leon does it. To an extent, like Adam Henrique does it. You know, he gets into the equipment of guys. Arvidsson is just constantly, you know, inside of the equipment of. So you have to look at, even though there's not a lot of bone crushing hits. I think probably the best hitter on the team is Emberson at this point, but you still see Connor throw a hit at times, and when that does happen, it galvanizes the team a little bit. But it's just they're wired different. But I know it might be concerning, but they have the puck a lot, and the game has changed, and the Oilers do not get run out of the building because of the physicality of the other team. They're too good with the puck and too skilled. I just don't see it as that big an issue.
Podkolzin hits.
Podkolzin's he's got the Russian gas, man. That is one strong individual.
Corey Perry hits. Maybe Noah Philp's going to bring that element to the game. Who knows? But yeah, I think the Oilers. I'm not worried about it. And Ryan Reeves, if Toronto's in the Stanley Cup Finals, trust me, Ryan Reeves is not a big part of that. The reason why.
Yeah, is he going to go up again when Connor's on the ice? I don't think. Is Leon's no like.
And if he wants to try to grab a guy to fight, he's going to go in the box, and the Oilers are going to score on the power play.
He wouldn't even do that. I don't think. Like, and who is he going to grab?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think the Oilers need that kind of player. I'm not worried. I mean, do you want more hits? Because it was concerning about a week ago because they were finishing with the game with 2-3 hits, and you're like, okay, you don't have the puck that much.
Yeah.
Like, lay the body. But it also goes into like who's counting these hits, Gage? Right?
Yeah, it's like shots on goal, building to building. I always love to go to the States and play because they didn't care. I mean, I'd go dive out to stop an icing, and they'd give me a save for it, right? But you get the statisticians in Canada are a little more anal. Like I would make a save, and they go, I think that was going to hit the post.
Yeah.
Like that's what
that was going to go wide.
Yeah, so it's completely different. Again on the Reeves thing, like look at the Darnell Nurse, the whole sequence of events that happened there. He runs Darnell, gets a 5-minute major. I know the Oilers didn't capitalize on it, but if he's going to run around and get suspended and take 5-minute penalties against the Oilers, I'm all for it because eventually they're gonna pay the price with that power play.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not too concerned. Great text, and I understand why you would get a little concerned about it. But I think the Oilers and other teams know, like, don't put these guys on the power play. Don't put them on. Don't put them at 4-on-4 like Ferrier did with the Kings, because that's pretty much another power play when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. You have the Australian Open on. I was just talking to you in the break. I was so into tennis when Bianca won the U.S. Open and Shapovalov and Felix Auger-Aliassime were up and coming. But I feel like it's flatlined, Gager. I feel like Canadian tennis hasn't been able to take that next step in the men's and the women's. And I was very disappointed to learn that Bianca Andreescu wasn't at the Australian Open. And I tried to Google why, and there's no reason why. I just don't know what's going on there anymore. She's such a talent, man.
Yeah, even before she won that U.S. Open, she wasn't obviously a household name at that time, but she, if you remember back, it was constantly saying, I feel so good. I'm not injured right now. I just think that she's prone to injuries. and that's an issue. She just can't. Like, how many times in tournaments she has to withdraw because of a knee, a wrist, an elbow. Like, tennis is that's hard on the body, and especially if you're just you can't keep it together, which is too bad because I really thought after that season we were going to see. I thought she would kind of dominate for a while.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's not Steffi Graf or anything like that, but I thought that the way that she dismantled Serena Williams in the final and stuff. I thought and even it was at the Canadian Open where I think Serena had to retire.
Yeah.
Right? And she won by default there. So, yeah, we're kind of waiting on the next great Canadian tennis player. Because
Layla had that run to the finals but lost, right? And so I'm just seeing Bianca 3 weeks ago on Sportsnet.ca. She opened up about her struggles finding joy for tennis again. And then another article says she's skipping the Australian Open, future unclear. So obviously we never know what these players are going through, Gage.
Talk about a mental battle.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The mental toughness you need to be a top tennis player. Like some of the best, I've said this, some of the best sport books that I've ever read.
Yeah.
They're all tennis. Like the Agassi one's ridiculous. The McEnroe one's is pretty funny, but he talks about the difference, even from like the number 3 ranked person in the world to number 1 is massive.
Yeah.
But then like 5 to 7 is closer.
And the reason I get frustrated is because you saw the potential when she won the U.S. Open, and even after that, she went to one final and lost. And she's so good, and she's fun to watch. She's animated on the court. She screams, and I think that's frustrating because you've seen her play as of late a bit, but she's always out in the second, third round.
I know.
And you can tell she's frustrated as well. She's changed coaches. She's changed her training. And now she said she was dealing with the struggles of, finding joy for tennis again. So, again, still fairly young, Gager, but I think that's why I get frustrated. And she must be frustrated.
Oh, gosh,
it's just because I enjoyed watching her play tennis. She was fantastic.
Yeah, it's if there was any other, well, it's kind of F1 now, but it would never happen. But if there was ever another professional sport that I could have played, it would have been tennis.
Yeah, and the boys just frustrate me. They're always up 2 sets and end up losing. It seems like that's the common theme for Chapeau. And
I'm watching it right now. Timber Woodsman into the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. Why are we even talking about the Leaves playing in the final? Never going to happen. But Timber Woodsman, wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
An Edmonton, Toronto Stanley Cup final. Watch Batman just lose his marbles that it's 2 Canadian teams. I think it would just be one of the best things. That would be as close to the 2010. Was it 2010 Olympics?
Yes.
The 2010 Olympics of Canada being part of a sporting event. Like, it would be on every TV. I just think it would be one of the best weeks and a half of sports that we would ever be part of.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Tennis is hard, man. Like serving.
Tennis, like that was part of my workout because my friends and I back on the mean streets of Kits, we'd play at the courts right by Kits High School. And we sucked at the beginning when we first got home. But, by the end of it, we were, serving and rallying and stuff. And we'd just play like best of 3 sets, things like that. And what a workout, man. Like and it's competitive and guys are doing little drop shots and you're yelling at them and hit the ball.
Rip City Step says, I bet you can turn pro pickleball still, Mr. Gage. Yeah, probably.
I'd have to probably get back on the bike.
All right. We got to get to a break here. Dylan Loucks from the Hockey News covering the Minnesota Wild joins us next as we tee up Oilers Wild. The series right now is tied at 1. It's a big game, number 3. Both teams have won on the road. Calvin Pickard in net for the good old Oilers. We'll find out who's in net for the Minnesota Wild. That's all coming up next year on EST Afternoons with Joaquin, Gage and Hernan Salas. Here's Zach with your sports update.
Just 2 games in the NHL sees Edmonton starting their 3-game road trip in Minnesota with Noah Philp returning to the lineup, fresh off his call-up, while Mattias Ekholm is a game-time decision for the Oil. And you can catch Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas at 5:30 as they tee up the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show right here on EST. Elsewhere, Carolina visits Buffalo, and in New Jersey, Jonathan Kovacevic has been fined just under $2,000 for cross-checking Florida's Matthew Tkachuk. The Oil Kings and Broncos throw it down for one of 5 games in the WHL, while Spokane meets Kelowna and Portland faces Saskatoon. In football, Dru Brown has signed an extension with the Redblacks, which locks him down through 2026. And out east, Toronto hosts Boston. Philly battles the New York Knicks, and the Nuggets go at it against Houston. On the other side of the break, Dylan Loucks joins EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for 2 at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
This is your chance to win big with the Split the Pot Lottery. Support the Capital Care Foundation to help Alberta seniors get the care they deserve and support more healthcare foundations across the province. With a grand prize draw that grows with every ticket sold, the jackpot is hundreds of thousands and just keeps getting bigger. Visit splitthepot.ca and buy your tickets now. Don't forget to pick Capital Care Foundation as your foundation of choice. Next jackpot is January 16th, license number 713959.
It's 2:24. Welcome back to EST Afternoons. It's game day. Oilers Wild, 6:30 local time here in Edmonton. The GCL Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola will kick off at 5:30. And we're at 91 thumbs up, Gage. You're only 9 away from 100. Let's keep hammering that and get well over 100. Big shout out to Dusty for pumping our tires a bit there on the nasty chat. Keep those messages coming as well to the River Korean box at 780-218-9999, as we're now joined by Dylan Loucks from the Hockey News, who covers the Minnesota Wild. I will just wait for Coop to get him ready there. As they're dealing with a ton of injuries here. Just to name a few, Spurgeon out, Kaprizov, obviously the big one, Brock Faber, Jonas Brodin. So they're dealing with a ton of injuries. We will see former Oiler Travis Dermott play tonight. He's on the third pair with Yair sick. And this is still a good team. No excuses. I know if the Oilers drop this game, the post-game show is going to be fired, because how can you not beat this team with all the injuries? But the Oilers also dealing with some of their own, potentially. Mattias Ekholm is a game-time decision. And are we good with Dylan? Yeah. Okay. Dylan Loucks from the Hockey News covering the Minnesota Wild joins us now. Dylan, how you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing excellent. Pumped for this game. The first game in Edmonton, Minnesota was able to win 5-3, and then a rare win for Edmonton in Minnesota 7-1. But this team's dealing with a ton of injuries right now, Dylan. So what can we expect from this team tonight without at least 3-4 key guys to their lineup?
Yeah, there's definitely some good and key players out for the Wild tonight. If you look back to December, the game that the Wild lost to Edmonton, they were without Eriksson, Brodin, Zuccarello, and even Middleton in that game. But they have Ek back tonight. Zuccarello will play as well, and Middleton. So it's a good sign there, but they're also without three of their best defenders and Spurgeon, Brodin, and Faber. And Brodin and Spurgeon are usually the guys that are out there to stop McDavid and Draisaitl and the Hymans. So we'll see how John Hines kind of uses matchups tonight. He kind of talked about it, that it might not just be a set D pair that's out there to stop him, but maybe a set forward line. So it'd be interesting to see who that would be. I would have to imagine it would be X line, but it also could be the Foligno, Gaudreau, Trennan line, because they've been pretty good defensively. But yeah, it'll be an interesting test for the Wild. I know they're without their best players, and even Gustafsson hasn't been great against Edmonton in his career. So we'll see.
Dylan, the goaltending is interesting, and someone wrote in on our text line. He wanted me to ask you the question. Looking at Marc-Andre Fleury, like, he doesn't play like a 40-year-old goaltender. Is there any chance that possibly Bill Guerin coaxes Marc-Andre to come back for one more season? Because this is a quite, looking at the percentage of the cap, it is a quite formidable goaltending duo when it's at its best.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And if you look at the way he's playing this year, you could definitely make the case for another year. But it doesn't seem like that is going to happen. It seems like this is Fleury's last year. He doesn't want to keep saying, it's his last year, and then sign another year. So we'll see. But to your point, like you said, like, he's definitely playing well enough where you could see another 1-year deal, but I just don't think that will happen, unfortunately.
Dylan, Marco Rossi having an excellent season at 38 points already. He's going to surpass last year's totals. He's definitely taking that next step. What are you guys seeing for Marco Rossi there as he's becoming a legit top 6 forward for the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah, he's definitely become a lot more comfortable, and I think the biggest thing that he said this year was getting to the net more, and we've seen it. Every goal he scores is usually right on the blue paint. I know he's a smaller guy. It's not like he can use his size to get to the front of the net, but he's really strong around there, and he's kind of made a name for himself in that spot, but he's also played really well with the guys he's playing with. And even without Kaprizov, this Wild team has still won 6 games in the 9 that Kirill's missed, and that's because of Rossi and Boldy and Zuccarello. And Rossi in his last 5 games has 5 points, and that's all without Kaprizov. He's taken a bigger step on the power play, and even when Kirill was in the lineup and everyone else was in the lineup, Rossi wasn't even on power play 1, but now he's kind of a fixture there. And I would just say he's a lot more comfortable this year, and he knows where he needs to go to score and pick up points, and he's doing a great job at that this year.
Dylan, a lot of times during the regular season, there's stretches where it does seem like there's more Band-Aids and players start getting injured, and you kind of want that to probably happen at this time of the season. But are there any concerns about lingering injuries to some of these top players, and would the Wild be looking at possibly shoring up their team just to defend against someone going down for a longer period of time?
Yeah, I would say it's tricky though, because they're right up against the cap, and they can't even afford an extra call up right now, and they've been in a tough spot this season because of injuries, but also because of the cap reasons, and sometimes they can't even call guys up on an emergency basis just because of their salary cap. So it's tough to think that they'll try to get something done to bring in someone just because of their current cap spot. But the first part of the lingering injuries is they really just want to be careful with it. Like, they're in a spot right now where it would be nice to have Kaprizov in the lineup and he might be able to play, but they just kind of want to let things play out more and really make sure that they're comfortable. I mean, it happened earlier this season. Lauko got hurt. He came back after missing 6 games, and he played 3 games, and then he re-aggravated the same injury. And Kirill's injury is sort of the same to Lauko's, so they don't want that to happen to him, that if he were to come in the lineup, he would re-aggravate it again. So they just kind of want to let things play out, make sure guys are really fully 100% before they're back in, and especially with their D-core. But I think at the start of the season, they put themselves in a good spot to withstand some of these injuries. And I know the way they play is is a full team-based structure, so everyone can kind of chip in and pick up points here and there. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep this up with these key guys out of the lineup, but it does seem like most of them are progressing towards returning within a week or so, so that's good.
Dylan Loucks from the Hockey News covering the Minnesota Wild joining us here on EST Afternoons. Dylan, I saw on the X machine today that Kirill the Thrill and Brock Faber are close to returning. Is that what your sources are telling you as well?
Yeah, and Kirill's been progressing. He's skated on his own. Yesterday he skated on his own with Faber, but they didn't skate with the team during practice. But today, Faber, Lauko, and Kaprizov were on the ice for morning skate. They did some drills, but when it was time to do line rushes and power play work, they went off to the side and worked amongst the three of them. So I would say those three are probably progressing more than Spurgeon and Brodin are. Spurgeon is skating. He's been skating on his own, though, not with the team. And Brodin hasn't skated yet, but he's doing some off-ice activities. So when you look at probably who's coming back in the lineup first, it would probably be probably Faber first, but then Kaprizov and Lauko too are definitely progressing. We'll see if they bring them on the road trip and who gets in, but it's a good sign that they're now officially practicing with the team. I know it was just a morning skate, but it's good to see him out there.
With Jared Spurgeon, I mean, he's always a pleasure to watch. How have the Minnesota Wild been able to kind of get through him being injured, having your emotional leader, your captain, out of the lineup for this amount of time?
Yeah, if you even look back at last year, he only played 16 games, and a lot of the guys on the team said it was so hard with him out in the lineup just because of his voice and his leadership and what he brings. And I know he's more of a quiet guy, but whenever he does speak, players take listen. So it's definitely hard without had a really good core of leaders.
I think he's cut out there just for a bit. Zach, can you just check if we still have him here? I had one more question.
Uh-oh.
It's all good. He's at the arena, obviously, so
yeah.
Some of those Wi-Fi spots are not the best, but good stuff. I mean, Jared Spurgeon, man, he can't stay healthy. And he's, for a small defenseman, he plays such a good game, man.
Cass tells a great story because he's good close friends with Jared Spurgeon. And I believe he was talking about camp, and Spurgeon was there late or in some instance, and Cass was like, who's this guy? Like, it's kind of small to be a defenseman, right? And and I guess it went, like, the puck got dumped in, and he was kind of almost last guy. He blew past the guy, got the puck behind the net, gave himself some time and space. The guy chased him. He stepped out and sent like a cross-ice backhand pass, hitting a guy in flight at the far red. And so it was like, oh, that's why he's here. You know, he's just a phenomenal talent.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, Edmonton product, I think.
He's from here. I remember he was. I was picking up my daughter at the airport, and he pulled in with his wife, and I had my dog, and his wife was like, "Can I pet your dog?" I go, "Yeah, sure." And I didn't know her, but he came around the corner. Now, of course, I recognized him right away. And he goes, "Hey, nice dog." I go, "Hey, thanks, Jared." And he was like, "What?" Because I don't think he gets recognized that much. And I go, I know who you are.
I know.
He was like, "Oh, okay." Really nice guy. Awesome guy.
Sorry, I'm just texting Dylan.
Yeah, no, it's funny about Fleury. You know, it's probably pretty emotional for him. I mean, he's been a really good goaltender. Selfishly, I'd like to see him get a chance at winning another cup because he was a huge part of the first one, obviously. The next two, yes, he was part of it, had to go in at certain times, but you could see and then losing with Vegas later on and just when you're a goalie and you're the guy and you're the goalie of record on that winning game that wins the Stanley Cup, or it just means a little bit more. Yeah. You know, you could see when he won, I believe, his third cup in Pittsburgh, and he was rolling, and a few stumbles, and then gets replaced, and doesn't finish it off. You could see just a little bit of hurt in his eyes when he was holding that cup. He'd be like, God, I wish I could have brought this all the way home.
All the way home, yeah. Zach, can you see if just chatting with Dylan here, if you can send him the link again? You can use that same link. Okay, I sent you his number. Can you text him, please? It's crazy because we have questions coming from Baldelli from Minnie, and then another one from Edina, Minnesota, which is kind of cool. People are tuning in to listen to Dylan Loucks here, which is pretty awesome. So I just had a few more questions. If not, Zach, if it's not working, you can just tell him thank you for joining us. It was a great hit, but if we can get him back on for maybe 2-3 more minutes, that'd be great as well. But like we said, the Oilers still waiting. We'll have to wait till the pregame warm-ups at 6 o'clock to see if Mattias Ekholm draws in for the Edmonton Oilers. But no excuses, Gager. I mean, Minnesota has way more injuries, so it's still
going to be a good game. You can't. They're a good team, and as long as I believe he mentioned that Eriksson Ek's playing, whale of a player.
And Matt Boldy's good. Marco Rossi's having an excellent season. Zuccarello, another small guy, just gets it done every year.
Yeah,
what a player, man!
And another emotional kind of leader that means a lot to your team. I don't know if you remember Henrik Lundqvist when they were interviewing him when Zuccarello got traded. Lundqvist was crying. Like, he was their best buddy, man. Like, that's tough.
We're at 107 thumbs up. Well done. I know the WSTers, the Hustlerites, the WSTers have joined us, and hit the thumbs up if you want the Oilers to do the Jets a favor and beat these damn Minnesota Wild. How about the Jets? The Jets rolling the Vancouver Canucks yesterday. Yeah. Kyle Connor a hat trick in the first period. Gager, something's got to give in Vancouver, man. Something's just not working.
Well, yeah, those two hate each other.
But
did you see the Pedersen kind of mocking Miller?
Okay, so that was old.
Was it?
Yeah, because I did.
No, I know it was old.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the banging of the stick, and because he was doing it before, and they were both like, come on, relax.
Calm down. Okay, we bring back Dylan Loucks here just for a couple more minutes. Sorry about that, Dylan. It just cut out there. I know you're at the arena, so sometimes depending on where you're sitting, it can cut in and out. But just a couple more questions for you. We actually have some people from Minnesota sending us questions for yourself, so I'll ask. Question for Dylan. This is from Baldelli from Minnie. Says, who are the Wild, or kind of what player are they looking for at the trade deadline?
Yeah, we kind of mentioned it earlier with their cap situation. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I will say, though, that if defense injuries keep on happening, it'd be interesting to see if they tried to get maybe a defenseman, but you always kind of have to think that top six scoring is probably a priority. Just guys like Marcus Johansson, Ryan Hartman, they're good serviceable players, but right now they're playing 18 minutes a night with an Eriksson Ek, and they're out there on power play. So if maybe you could drop one of those to the third line and pick up a guy who can slide into the second line and score and maybe add a power play element to his game would be something I would imagine that the Wild are interested in.
Dylan, just selfishly, we have a lot of Winnipeg listeners that join our show around this time. For you, is that the playoff matchup that you would like to see the most, like a final between Minnesota and Winnipeg to go to the Western Conference Final?
Yeah, I was going to say I would hope that wouldn't be a first round matchup, but I think those two teams they always play each other hard, and there always seems to be bad blood between them with previous injuries and stuff that's been said publicly and stuff like that. So I think that would be a good matchup if they were to play each other, and like you said, in a couple of rounds would make it even more better to watch.
And last one for you, Dylan. David Jiricek was acquired by the Wild back in late November. How has he looked with the Minnesota Wild? I know he hasn't played a lot of games, but he's going to draw in tonight. But in a small sample size, what have you thought of David Jiricek?
Yeah, I think he's played good. You can definitely see what his game is. It's offensive, and that isn't to say he's not the best in the defensive zone, but I think there's still things he probably needs to grow and and become better at, but his size obviously jumps out. His offensive instincts, like it happened in his Wild debut where he came across the red line, and instead of dumping it in, he found Boldy on the far flank, and it ended up creating an offensive chance where maybe most guys would have just dumped that in and went off for a change. And so you can tell that he has these offensive instincts where he wants to generate offense, and I've never seen a defenseman pinch more than he does. And I think it's exciting to see, but you also can't put yourself in a spot where it's leading to odd man rushes and things like that. But I would say offensively, there's definitely something there that can continue to grow and develop into a solid player. And if you're looking at what they have in their pipeline with Yves Bouillon and Brock Faber now, it's a pretty good young D-core coming up for the Wild in the next couple of years, and he's definitely part of it.
Dylan, great stuff. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'm sure we'll have you on soon.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
That's Dylan Loucks from the Hockey News covering the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, and big shout out to our people listening in Minnesota, big Dylan Loucks fans. That's pretty cool.
Got the Loucks bump.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have the Winnipeggers in here as well. Charlie says Jets are owed the favor from the Oilers to beat the crap out of them. What's that favor, though? I don't know.
I love the animosity between these two teams. I would love to see, like Dylan said, not first round, second round, if it could be possible, right? That would be great.
But it sucks because one of Colorado, Minnesota, or Winnipeg are going to be out.
Oh, I know.
It's great, though. I mean, just ask us about Hartman or anyone in Winnipeg that covers it. They can't stand.
What would it be if they went back to the 1-8? No,
it wouldn't work.
Still wouldn't work. Oh well.
Oh, Matt Hyman says for beating the Canucks. Yeah. That game wasn't even close, man. That was just complete domination. And Connor Hellebuck's having a MVP season right now. They're just unreal. All right, guys, it's 2:44. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. Host your team or league fundraiser at the Canadian Brew House for a chance to win $2,500 with tons of options to choose from. The Canadian Brew House can help you raise the funds for your crew. Details in store or online at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Coming up next, we'll close out EST Afternoons. Get you ready for the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We're back after the break, but first up, Zach with your sports update.
Just 2 games in the NHL, seeing Edmonton starting their 3-game road trip in Minnesota with Noah Philp returning to the lineup fresh off his call-up, while Mattias Ekholm is a game-time decision. And you can catch Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas at 5:30 for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show as they tee up the action. You can tune in right here on EST. In the other game sees Carolina visiting Buffalo at 4, while in Pittsburgh, Tristan Jarry hits waivers for the purpose of reassignment. He has 4 years left on his deal, worth an average salary of around $5.5 million. Meanwhile, the Oil Kings and Broncos throw it down for one of 5 games in the WHL, while Spokane meets Kelowna and Portland faces Saskatoon. In football, Dru Brown has signed an extension with the Redblacks, which locks him down through 2026. And out east, Toronto hosts Boston. Philly battles New York with the Knicks. And the Nuggets go at it against Houston. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since '93. They sell doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. The final segment of EST Afternoons on this Wednesday edition comes right after the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Suite. Get your tickets now at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
.248 here, a little late for the last segment, but we went along with Dylan Loucks, who was a great guest, and he had a big following. Kudos to him. He's going to be joining us again, Gager, when the Wild and Oilers meet in the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, okay.
That'll be good, eh? The Georgia Satellite's not a fan of Zach's hat.
No? What is your hat, Zach?
I like my hat. It's the Ottawa Senators.
Oh,
look at this guy. Yeah. This guy just loves every team, eh?
He does.
Oh, yeah. Home of the Hamburglar.
Vince's Play says it was actually a vacation for Hellebuck. Jets played tight. Vancouver didn't show up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that game was unreal. And I'm still intrigued to see if they can move one of Pettersson or JT Miller, if that's even the answer. I don't know if it is. I don't think their defense is solid.
What I saw with that little snippet of Pettersson kind of mocking JT Miller, it's not a good sign, man. Not a good sign. That's not a cohesive unit, as they say.
And guys are probably just tired of it too, right?
Gosh, this is where can you imagine? You imagine if there was a drive to survive
on this team?
During the Canucks and all the backseat things and what guys actually said and stuff, it would be the most watched sporting thing I think ever.
Yeah,
you couldn't write that stuff.
No, writes itself, Gage.
Yeah, except for there was a show back when I was a kid. I loved it. He shoots, he scores. Lance Compte, I think was the name. It was a CBC show about the Nordiques. A young guy coming up, and it was just trash. It was great. I loved it. I just loved it. Let me know if you've ever watched He Shoots, He Scores. And he wore one of those really bad old Coho helmets too. But it was all behind the scenes what happened, and yeah, it was great.
Cohos are great, man. Mick from Beaumont says, boys, how about this athlete that totally fell from the map? For all you golf fans, David Duvall, after going toe-to-toe with Tiger and winning, he then did nothing but go to the broadcast booth.
Yeah.
You're more of a golf guy.
I'm trying to think. Duvall did all right, though, didn't he? I didn't think he maybe he did. I just remember Steve Stricker when Tiger first came on the scene, kind of. He was Stricker was basically saying, I can't understand why there's so much hype around this kid, and he's not going to be as good as in the amateurs and all this stuff. And you never saw Stricker even close. He was going home every Friday afternoons all the time, while Tiger was just lighting it up.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot, man. There's definitely a lot. Penner's Pancake says Miller only have 14 minutes of time on ice. What a tire fire over there. Yeah, and I guess he didn't get a power play one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put up a young Finnish kid or that. Yeah, so. VR says, I've seen it, Gager. It makes the littlest hobo seem like a masterpiece.
Yeah. Hey, VR, that was a great show. Watching it now would probably be terrible, but it was good.
Well, the littlest...
I would watch it in French because I was in French immersion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How's the French now?
It's not good.
Prediction for tonight, or maybe not a prediction but a key to a game to a win for the Oilers. Give me a key. Don't give me a prediction.
A key to the game is scoring the first goal. I think the Oilers are a different team when they can get the lead, and what we saw against the Kings, I'd love to see them. Maybe not completely lock it down like that, but just a little bit of a boa constrictor against the Minnesota Wild. Make them have to open up their game and just take advantage of the mistakes.
So the Wild's PK is fourth last in the league. So I think a key to the game is the Oilers get a power play. You got to make it happen there. And Philip Gustafsson is confirmed as a starter. He'll go toe-to-toe with Calvin Pickard. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, Gager, Calvin Pickard played in that 7-1 game. Am I wrong on that?
I can't remember.
Anyone remember out there? Let us know. At the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. The River Cree inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. I definitely got to get out there to check that out. Gager, 50% off. Have some good hot wings.
Would love hot wings.
And, so the Oilers, 6:30. So this is what's going to happen. Reed Wilkins, Jay Milne will join you from 3 to 5:30. I think I'm joining their show, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get the Nanso bump.
I don't know about that. Hopefully the views don't go significantly down when I join them. But
if they just plummet.
And then at 5:30, Tom Gazzola with myself and good old Sean Bell will jump on for the pregame show.
Is he coming in?
Yeah, he's coming in.
Wow.
Yeah, he was here today too for the hangout.
Was he?
Good old Bell. Strong handshake by Bellsy.
Oh, does he have a strong one?
Oh man, yeah.
It's kind of you would figure that he would have a strong handshake, I think.
Yeah, he's a big boy, man. He's a beauty. So we're going to have some fun teeing this game up. Of course, lots to get to. Noah Philp makes his return to the Edmonton Oilers. He will be on the line with Corey Perry and Kasperi Kapanen. Your top two lines for the Edmonton Oilers are as follows. RNH with McDavid and Hyman. Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson. Then you got the classic third line of Janmark, Henrique, and Brown. Perry with Philp Kapanen. The big story is Ekholm was not on the ice for the morning skate. He will be a game-time decision. If he can't go, it's going to be Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Bouchard, and Josh Brown with Ty Emberson. Calvin Pickard gets the start for the Edmonton Oilers. And like I mentioned, Philip Gustafsson goes for the Minnesota Wild between the pipes. He was in net for that 7-1 thrashing by the Edmonton Oilers. And he's been outstanding this year. He's one of the top 5 goalies in the league. Outside of that game, he's still a really, really good goaltender. Gager, tomorrow we're going to recap the game. We got the red light district. We got highlights, lowlights, and we might go to I might dabble and try to get a Kansas City Chiefs guest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah,
they're the bad boys that everybody wants to beat.
Yeah.
Right?
Either you, what is that saying? Either you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And they have become the villains.
They have. And because they're likable dudes, it's just sick of seeing them win.
I mean, Kelsey's great. I think he's great.
So is Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Pacheco. I like the little speedy guy they got.
Andy Reid's hilarious.
Yeah.
Right? Came in as Santa Claus. Like, come on.
He's great. So we're going to try to get someone on from KC to talk Chiefs as the NFL playoffs continue on this weekend starting on Saturday. That's going to do it for us here on EST Afternoon. Thank you for all the views. Make sure to download our podcast on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts from. Thank you for the thumbs up, and thank you for watching us on the EST YouTube channel. For Zach Kubish and Joaquin Gage, I'm Hernan Salas. Enjoy the game tonight. Reed Wilkins show coming up with Jay Milne, followed by the pregame show, and then later tonight, the postgame show with Tom Gazzola. Have a good one. Enjoy the game. Ciao for now.